Welcome to your eclipse season reading for all 12 signs. Joining me today is my good friend and highly intuitive Chris Reck from Minnow Pond Tarot. What's been going on with you, Chris?
Not much. How have you been?
Good, doing good. It
Good.
seems like the month flew by, January, since the last time we did our next 3 month reading. And I'm going, wow, we're in February, but big changes coming in this month. And so we felt like this was a great topic. Have you already started feeling some changes as we moved into February?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, I can't even explain some of them, but I definitely feel different, And I felt weird the past couple of days, but then I saw someone talking about the Schumann resonance being off the charts again. So
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
I forget to check that, but then anytime I start to feel weird, somehow like a video will float in
yeah,
front of me or a friend will say it, and I'm like,
yeah.
"That's right, I should have checked that." I don't know for you about. Did you feel that full moon that we had on the first, the full moon in Leo?
I did. Yeah, I definitely felt that.
Yeah, I don't always feel a full moon, but that was like a pure full moon hangover for me on Monday morning.
Hmm.
I didn't expect it at all. I got up feeling good, and then about 2 hours into the day, I just felt exhausted, like I had been running
Yeah.
a marathon all weekend. So, did you feel
Mhm.
tired from it?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember how I felt Monday, but yeah, I think I felt tired. I had like a lot of ideas on that day as well, which was good. So yeah,
That's true. It was almost like a spacey day. I just kind of
yeah,
allowed
very
myself to
spacey.
slow down and just think about things.
Hmm.
That's interesting because then, so at the time we recorded these messages at the beginning of eclipse season, it is February 4th today. Last night we had Uranus go
Correct.
direct, and
Yeah.
that's always, Uranus doesn't really mess around. So be
Yeah.
paying attention to the news headlines and everything. But the other
Hmm.
thing to note is we do have four eclipses this year. This particular reading is for the first two happening this February 17th and March 3rd. So I'll talk about that a little more. But the first one is also on the new moon in Aquarius, which happens to be the Chinese New Year. We talked about that in
Hmm.
a couple of our past episodes. We're leaving the year of the snake and moving to the year of the fire horse. By the time we get to this eclipse, Saturn will be fully into Aries. That happens on the 13th. Neptune's already there. So this is a really, really strong start to the year. And it is happening in Aquarius, which Uranus is the planet that rules Aquarius. So to
Hmm.
have Uranus direct with it, it's going to be, one of those things where you're almost like get your popcorn but be ready to be part of it. Have you felt anything about action energy with you with this?
Yeah. I love that analogy. So I think that's like the perfect analogy. I keep telling people we're going to see like tons of crazy stuff going on.
Yes.
But I think but we need to like take action in our lives. So, that's pretty much what I've been telling everyone.
Yeah,
So
I,
love
I completely agree. And it's so interesting because that is a big shift from what I feel like we've had over
it.
the
Hmm.
last several years, where a lot of the energy has been around observing others and observing what's going on and listening to your intuition. We're going to keep doing that. But now it's like you might have to like get off the train and go interact with something for a little while and then get back on the train and do some observing.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I've been feeling lately that, and like it's almost like we need to like find what we're serious about, like pick something to be serious about, but not be serious about it. It's
Yes.
like I feel that like contradictory energy where it's like you need to have something to be serious about, but you need to like do it, take action, but keep it simple.
Right. Yeah. Especially like you said in past episodes, we talked a lot about the Pluto move into Aquarius and how,
Yeah,
we've moved away from that Capricorn energy of being so serious and doing
yeah,
everything so the way it's always been done. It's time for innovation. It's time to have more fun. It's time to get out there and be part of a group. Aquarius is all about the collective and doing things. I always love what you talk about, Chris. You talk about win-win-win scenarios. It's not just
yeah.
you and the other party winning. There's like a greater win for the
Win.
greater good,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah. And by the way, something that I was thinking about this morning about this too is Jupiter retrograde in Cancer, because it's like it really is like that Capricorn energy when it's retrograde. So it's like Jupiter is in its fall in Capricorn, right? So
Yeah.
it's like it I think that's weird too. I think that can be very serious and not needing to not be serious.
Yes. Yeah, that does make sense.
You
And it
know?
is kind of like that last pass of that energy too, because later this year
Yeah,
we do
that'll be
have,
under.
yeah,
Yeah.
Jupiter will move into Leo. In fact, by the time we get to the second round of eclipses that are, both of them are happening in
Hmm.
August, we will have one eclipse that happens in Leo. And Jupiter will be in Leo. So there will be a
Yeah.
big expansion of that energy too. But let's back up a little bit to this eclipse season, because I'm sure you and I will do another reading when we get closer to those, because the world will look quite different, I feel like, by the time we get to August. So this first one is called an annular solar eclipse. Like I said, it's happening on February 17th with a new moon at 28 degrees Aquarius. I went back and checked, and the last time we had an eclipse in Aquarius that was also a solar eclipse and close to this degree, it was actually 27 degrees, so a degree apart, was in February 15th, 2018. Do you remember what was going on for you back then, Chris? Any big shifts?
I had just like for 2 years before then I moved to Seattle, but then at that time, so that is when I started going live, I think, on my channel. That's like the biggest shift, you know.
And that's like a collective right there. It was in Aquarius,
Yeah.
and you were like going
Hmm.
and just getting out there in a big way and growing your audience.
I was
and
doing it
stuff.
every single day.
Yeah.
I did it
Oh,
every day for
wow.
years. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge. And so it's going to be kind of interesting to see like what happens around that type of theme this time around. But of course, it will be different. It will be innovative. We have the planets in different positions. And then coming up on March 3rd, we have the next eclipse for this first half of the season. It will be with a full moon at 12 degrees of Virgo. Now, we did have Virgo. We had a solar eclipse on September 21st of 2025 and a lunar one in March 14th. So if you want to think back to about a year ago, March 2025, what was going on? And then in September, what were some big shifts? Do you recall any major themes for you that was going on, or just that you were seeing?
Yeah, my brother moved out, and he's engaged now, so congratulations.
Oh, congratulations.
And my house, it's funny, he used to blame me for the messes in the house, but my house has been ridiculously clean since he left. So I think it was him, I think it was not me.
And that's a
Making the
Virgo-like
mess.
trait too, right? Isn't that such a Virgo thing?
He's a Virgo rising.
Oh.
So yeah.
That's funny.
Which is, he used to bust my chops for how I load the dishwasher. But like all my dishes are clean. My house is clean. I don't get it.
Yeah. I love it. Well, that's really interesting, the energy coming up. And then he's going to have some eclipses happening, with Leo and stuff, I know. So that'll be interesting in August to see. But, for me, it's when I look back, it's like, I definitely saw a lot of shifts for my Virgo family. I'm surrounded by Virgos, either rising or suns. And I did see a lot of shifts for a lot of them. For me, when I look back at 2018, I was making some shifts with my business. I was still doing spiritual work. I was doing mostly animal communication at that point. I hadn't started my YouTube channel yet. But I was feeling like things needed to shift and I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And it's almost like, now I have a little bit of a taste of where the direction needs to go, but there's still some unseen things. I feel like there's still some things that need to be revealed, and maybe some of this eclipse energy is going to reveal that. Does that resonate with you with revelations?
Yeah. I feel that a lot, and I want to look for a card real quick if I can find it, because everybody's been getting this card. It basically says like something about the missing piece of the puzzle, finding the missing piece of the puzzle or something. Of course, it's going to be like the last card I try to look for, so I don't want to waste a bunch of time doing it. But I shuffle my oracle decks before I do readings, so sometimes people will get they'll get the same cards, some of the signs. And that card, whatever it's called in this deck, has been showing up quite a bit. So yeah, I'm not going to be able to find it, but
kind of looking for that last piece of the puzzle, so to speak.
And
fit it in there.
I also think people legitimately don't know what to do, though. Like I feel the same way about some things where it's like I just don't have an answer for like what it's like I'm waiting for that inspiration or that hit, to hit.
Right.
Which I always think is like very Neptune and Pisces. I've told a story before when Neptune was not in Pisces. Like when I was younger, I went to this aquarium once, and I just knew that I was going to work there. I could literally feel it. I could see it when I went there and everything. And then Neptune entered into Pisces later on, and it's like I stopped having those those things happen to me where I just like knew something.
Right. So it's shifted for you the way that you were getting downloads from like a claircognizance to like a different type of intuitive hip.
Something different. Yeah. And but that's what I think right now is like, I think now that it's in Aries, like maybe we will start to feel it again.
Yeah, I think so too, especially with that fiery energy there. I do still encourage everybody to think back to the major shifts they've had since 2012. While I was somebody who did use my intuition, I didn't do it as actively as I do now. And things started coming online, and I've talked to so many people who don't even think they're intuitive, who, when they actually think about it, they did start coming online with more of their intuitive abilities. And it was like this slow process where it was something that was undeniable, but it wasn't a pushing energy. And I wonder if now it's going to feel more like it's pushing you in that direction.
Yeah, and I think it'll be like, it's like a mixture. I think now where we're going is like people will be mixing their intuition with the logical. It's not like just using one or the other. I think people will be mixing both.
I completely agree with that. And I want to also say that a big theme I've seen, and I feel like I've heard this in your readings as well, Chris, that if you feel like certain things don't excite you that they used to, if you're feeling a little bit like what's going to be the exciting thing that gets me out of bed in the morning, which I feel like we should all have like at least 5 little things. Like I can't wait to go play with my kitten. I can't wait to go fishing in the pond, whatever we have our things that we do. But I do think like, don't feel worried about that. I think that's going to shift too. I think we've come to the end of some things, right?
Yeah, I think especially this eclipse is, first Aquarius eclipse in a cycle is like awareness and also making space. So like clearing something out. I think we're just going to be throwing something out here on this eclipse or, whatever.
Yeah, and we already got started with that full moon in Leo on the 1st, because that was definitely a revealing, clearing energy. So just stay with the energy. Try to stay in the flow with it and allow it to guide you. But definitely don't ignore those intuitive nudges to try a new activity or take up, say yes to an invitation to go do something. Just because we're going to be guided in unique ways to things that we didn't even know we would be excited about. And then again, if you did put money, time, and resources into something that just doesn't get you excited anymore, that is also a very normal part of this cycle. And as we were taught, I got my degree in accounting about sunk costs. Ask yourself, is this a sunk cost? Why am I putting time and energy into something that just doesn't do it for me anymore, right?
And the other thing I would say about that, because I've been getting that message a lot, and I would say you're not losing anything. I get the 2 of Wands a lot lately, and 2 of Wands, he's standing at the top of that castle, and he's like, he's not leaving the castle because he's like, oh my God, I have to leave behind this thing that I built, and it's like, no, the castle still exists. He still has that castle. He's just going and building another one. So it's like, even if you feel like you're throwing something out, you're probably not. It still will be valuable.
Yeah, that is such a good analogy. I love the idea of like, well, don't you want a summer castle and a castle for the spring? Like, you can always go back and visit. Yeah. And we need to stay in that like higher dream world too, I think, and not being so focused on our material reality. Like we were with Capricorn energy. However, I do think that is the shift, is you are going to be required to still stay grounded with this energy, because it's going to be moving so quickly. And that's why I was saying, like, the visual I was given in a dream leading into this energy when we had Saturn and Neptune in Aries last summer before they retrograded out, I was given this visual in a dream about riding a train and watching life go by. And, you're smiling, you're like, oh, that's cute and that's pretty and whatever. And the message was no longer like when the train stops, like you need to get off and see what's at that station. You can get back on, but we do need to be more of a part of what's going on. And I think that's that Aries energy where it's just really taking charge, really going for it. It is a card of action, energy of action. We'll probably get a card of action too.
we probably will.
All right. Well, speaking of cards, we're going to go into all 12 signs like we always do. I do encourage you to listen to all 12 signs because you do have all 12 in your birth chart. We'll also do bonus messages at the end that are meant to clarify anything. And like I said, if you don't have your big 3, sun, moon, or rising in a sign, but you get, some tingles or you notice something that just feels like it's talking to you, please write it down. Give your future self that gift of hindsight, because there is going to be some more messages coming through, especially once we actually get to these eclipses and the time period after, which is about a 6-month period from February 17th and March 3rd, this first part of the eclipse season, until August. So you're going to want to give yourself credit for those intuitive nudges. And as always, we really appreciate it if you'd hit subscribe to both of our channels, like and share this video. And we do read every single one of your comments. So let us know what's going on for you. Let us know your sign, where you're tuning in from, or just leave us some cute emojis. I love emojis. But Chris, let's get started with all 12 signs. And I do want to mention again, too, that Chris is joining me from Minnow Pond Tarot. I forgot to say that. And he has taught me so much about YouTube and working through projects. And we were talking about not knowing where to go next, but getting inspired. So check out chrisreck.com as well. He has tons of free stuff on there to get you started, because this is an energy of getting started once we have this new moon on February 17th with all this fire sign, the horse behind me charging through. So, okay. Anything else you want to add to that collective energy before we get started with the Aries?
No, I think that's good.
All right. Well, getting started with the Aries, what do you have for the Aries for eclipse season, Chris?
Aries, you have the Knight of Pentacles, of course, the Page of Wands, and the Ace of Pentacles. So needing to get started with the Knight of Pentacles. He's the only knight that isn't moving. Although I feel a little bit different. It's like everything is set up for you, Aries, is the type of energy I'm getting here. It's like you literally just have to get started. It's like, imagine if you needed a bunch of tools or something. It's like they're there for Aries. Everything's all set up, but they just have to, get to work. You have the Page of Wands. Page of Wands, I feel Aries definitely like more excitement. I would be, if I were an Aries, that's probably what I would focus on, is like more things that I'm excited about, more mysteries. He goes on adventures, he explores things. But Ace of Pentacles, amazing. Like it's almost like he is almost holding on to the Ace of Pentacles. He has one pentacle that he's holding on to. And so there could be like a big opportunity coming in for you, Aries, at this time, which definitely, Saturn in your sign, Neptune in your sign, could be bringing in opportunities that could really grow. But it's like you have to make that pentacle grow.
Yeah, definitely. And that really resonates with me about having everything in front of you ready to go, but just needing to put that energy into it. I do have this 9 of Fire card here. And what's really resonating with me is this need to get really clear on where you're putting your time and energy so that you don't get burned out. Because, the next card is the 10 of Wands in this. And this is where somebody could be overworked, overtired. They're carrying other people's burdens. And a big message I got for 2026 for Aries is to make sure you're informing your people around you of your plans and where you're headed, because you will need your team. I know a lot of times it's easier just go do it yourself and get it done, but you're going to need your team, and you don't want to get so far ahead of them that they don't really know what your mission is and what your focus is. So protecting what you've created so far, the people that have accumulated in your life that support your vision and support your goal, even if there's been some frustrations, there's been some revelations around those things, just ask yourself, what are the traits that I really value in these team members? And this can be, personal team members who just support you in life, or it could be people you've actually decided to bring with you on your next goal or project or whatever you're working on. Just remembering that we don't want to get so far ahead of them. And there is a reason that they came into your life. It could be that with this eclipse season, some of them are exiting and it's bringing in new people, but that's going to be depending on where your energy is and what you're willing to protect. Because the next card I have here is this 6 of Water card here, which I know is often seen as a card of nostalgia and just looking back to the past and wishing things were a certain way. That's no longer a thing. We're in a year 1 in numerology, all these big planetary shifts, like we said. You might have memories coming up from your past, especially since we just had that full moon in Leo, which is a lot about love and your childhood memories of things you used to do for hours until your parents made you come home and, eat dinner. So looking back on those things that made your heart light actually are valuable things to look back on, but you might also catch yourself wishing they were a way that they just can't be anymore, and that's where the innovation comes in. Now, I also have this personal power card here, which is very much an Aries energy here, which is talking about strength and determination. So this is just a reminder that this is one of your personal powers. I am strong. Remember that Aries, that energy is behind you. You've got Saturn there, Neptune there, and of course we'll be coming up on the spring equinox, your birthday season in March, shortly after this March 3rd eclipse, the lunar eclipse on March 3rd. So definitely keeping all that in mind with where you're headed and knowing that you have the tools. What else came up for you with that, Chris, with the 9 of Fire?
Yeah, I talk to them about people all the time. Like, I feel that is one of the things that they've dealt with like the longest, and is people dealing with people, having people help them. And so I definitely feel the whole team message totally resonates with me for the readings I do for them. And I think that the thing for Aries is any new connections they need to not base off of old connections. I feel like back in 2016 or so, Aries could have had connections that just just kind of didn't work out for whatever reason. But I think if Aries looks at those connections, like love and otherwise, all connections, they were probably like out of balance in the first place. Like Aries was doing more, or, Aries, was kind of like lifting someone else up instead of making sure it was like reciprocal. And, I always feel that for Aries.
Yeah, that resonates. So definitely just paying attention. Like you said, these first eclipses are sometimes a clearing. Maybe there is some things you need to take off your plate, delegate, or just say, I'm not putting my energy into that anymore, so that you do have time for the team members that count, the people that you want. And that's what I feel like with protecting your team that you've assembled. So love that for the Aries. All right. Taurus, what are you getting for Taurus for eclipse season, Chris?
Taurus looks pretty good. You have the 6 of Cups, the Fool, and the 7 of Pentacles. I do feel like big work changes for Taurus over the coming years. Like maybe not like right now, but I do think that some of the things, sorry, Taurus, you can't see these, but there are some changes that you're going to be making in your career. 6 of Cups is like more childlike energy. Fool says you have to take the leap of faith. 7 of Pentacles is the juice worth the squeeze, right? He has to decide whether or not something he's working on is actually going to get him to where he wants to go. And that's really, it's almost like those other 2 cards don't matter with this one, even though they do, of course. That's not what I'm saying. But, it's almost like this card is saying that you need to look at what you're doing and also look at your goals. Like, is what I'm doing actually going to get me there or not? And I feel like that is the big question maybe around this eclipse. And, you could be getting rid of things that are just not worth it. And I think that the other thing I always say to Taurus with this card is like handling something too delicately. I like, because I do think it is time for Taurus to be a bull in a china shop a little bit more, be willing to like shake things up, be the, the change maker or whatever you want to call it, be the person that's willing to, try being an innovator. They say that, innovators end up with the arrows in their back, right? But, at the same time, could make you very successful. So I think it would be worth it.
Yeah, that resonates. And I do think that really resonated about not being too timid, Tauruses. I have this Page of Earth card here talking about good news about financial things, and I agree with you. I do see a lot of good things coming for Taurus career related. You guys have been waiting a long time for that with Uranus in your sign. It's doing its final pass. It went direct last night. Take a deep breath, Tauruses. I know it's been rough. I know so many just big changes with life direction, partner direction, everything. But this is coming in for you, these new opportunities to bring in that stability that you like, bring in those creature comforts that you need to help yourself feel like you can thrive. We also have the Emperor card, organization, leadership, and structure. And I do think that a lot of you have been there for a lot of other people. You've been trying to bring more structure into your life. And this, even though that this is about getting organized and having a good foundation, I'm also seeing this need for you to move your physical body a little more. And I know that's not a direct interpretation of this card, Chris, so I'll get your feet on it too. But that was like this side note that came in for me intuitively that I feel like, Taurus is, because you love your creature comforts and because you like things a certain way and you like to feel nourished and supported, it can be easy to just stay in that chair focusing too much on getting organized. It's like, okay, you've gotten organized enough. Like, and yes, you may need to, renovate the way that your kitchen looks, or you're remodeling, or you're restructuring your work. That's fine. Just don't leave behind this movement forward that we're getting with Saturn in Aries and Neptune in Aries. Because I also have this physical issues card here. And of course, Chris, just like Chris, I read intuitively, not literally. And I feel like a lot of this is around remembering that, I don't know, in those vampire stories where the vampire stayed still for so long that they turned to stone. We got to make sure we're moving in any direction, even if it feels like it's sideways. And that's been a big energy I've talked to a lot of my Taurus friends, Taurus sun and risings about. I have a Taurus moon. I'm like, goodness gracious, these last couple of weeks have felt like one step forward, three steps back. But at least there was movement, It's like there was some reassessment. There was some need to realize maybe I don't need to have that much structure around what I'm doing because it's stopping me from going forward. So I think that's what it's about. It's like, are you trying to have so much structure and organization that you're not just getting moving? So did anything else come up for you for that with the Page of Pentacles and Earth?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I talk to Taurus about all the time, is like being flexible. I think they need to be more flexible. And, because if you think about it, a bull probably isn't very flexible, right? And so I think, I think the movement makes perfect sense with the Emperor. He does move. He's sitting there, but he has his armor on underneath his cloak. So he's like ready to go at a moment's notice, and he's ready to make that change. But I do feel that for a lot of Tauruses. Like, I feel like a lot of them, the example I always give to Taurus is like, imagine if you grew up when you were younger and you were like, oh, I'm going to be on the radio. It's like, but the radio like doesn't exist anymore. I mean, basically nobody listens to radio. But it's like, you could start a podcast. It's like, that's the flexibility I think Taurus needs to have. It's like, there are new things that you can do, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That are the same, but different.
Yeah, and you know what else, Tauruses, I don't feel like you give yourself enough credit for is your presence. Like, I know a lot of Tauruses, like I said, and you have a presence that you don't always give yourself credit for that other people feel. And so when you made that comment about Tauruses don't really move a lot, it's a lot of times it's because they don't have to. Like, other people, they enjoy their presence, even if it's like a bubbly, charismatic one, or maybe it's a peaceful, like calm presence. It doesn't matter. Other people enjoy that. And so then the Taurus is like, I'm good here since everybody's happy. But like you're saying, it's like, no, but there's more you can bring out there, and it'll bring you comfort down the road, even if it means getting uncomfortable for a little bit, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. I love that for Tauruses. Let's move on to the Geminis, where Uranus is headed to your sign, guys. You got a little taste of that last summer. What are you getting for Gemini's eclipse season, Chris?
Gemini, you have the Five of Pentacles, Page of Pentacles, and the Ace of Swords, like new money or something. Five of Pentacles is, I think what it is for Gemini is weakness. I'm like not calling you weak, of course, Gemini, but it's like what makes you feel weak is what I would be avoiding with the Five of Pentacles here, because there could be like new strength. Ace of Swords is fortitude. It is strength in some ways. So I think that you could be developing new strengths. I mean, it could even be using a weakness, taking a weakness and turning it into a strength. It's like when you're a kid, it's like there are kids who get made fun of, and there are kids who they embrace whatever funny nickname they're given, and it doesn't affect them, right? And they become strong. So I think it's like that type of energy where it's like, there might be some weakness you have, but how can you turn it into a strength? That's literally what I feel like Gemini is going to be doing here. And it could be like your ADHD brain going all over the place and, be connecting all these crazy ideas or, something like that. But I definitely feel, also for Gemini, I've been getting for a lot of people for the year of the fire horse that they should be having more victories that they create. And so it's like, I don't think we're just going to start winning at the beginning of this Chinese New Year. But I think if we start creating wins, then some wins will just happen. It'll be like a side effect. So I've been encouraging everyone to like find something that you can win at easily and go have those wins, whatever it is.
Yeah, definitely the small successes. And I agree with you too, Chris, that we're not going to see it right away, but that energy is building for sure. For the Geminis, I have the Two of Air, being unwilling to make a decision, pretending there isn't a problem. I've actually been getting this energy for a lot of a lot of signs, but with it being Two of Air, right? That's, this or that thinking. It's definitely, getting stuck, but, not being able to make a choice on something and just sitting on the sidelines and hoping that nothing goes wrong. Well, these eclipses are coming in and they're saying, we're going to shift it anyways. Do you want to be a part of that shift or not? I have the Nine of Earth, contentment, luxury, and independence. And I do see a lot of Geminis heading towards a more independent lifestyle than they've had in the past. Maybe you are starting a side business, doing something on your own. Maybe you're taking on a leadership role that you weren't really ever considered doing. It resonated to me before too, Chris, about like maybe something that was a weakness as a child. You worked really hard to overcome it. And now you're setting the example to others. You're saying, look, I've found my peace with this weakness. I've found a way to work with it and make it a strength. So people are looking to you for that leadership. And then I also have this expressive talents card, creative, and the arts. And yes, I see a lot of Geminis going big with their creative projects. You know, even if you're retired or you're a student, you're saying, you know, enough is enough. I want the world to see this. So it could be something that you're just putting a lot of time and energy into in a way that you haven't given yourself the permission to do. And that's what I see a lot of Geminis doing now, is giving themselves permission to face the issue, make a choice. And honestly, I think a lot of the anxiety will go away from just going ahead and making a decision. Even if later on you come back and go, well, I wish I would have known this before I did that. Just the fact that you've made the decision. I don't know if you've ever been in that situation, Chris, before, but sometimes you're better off just making a decision and stop worrying about it. And then you're like, I'll cross that bridge when I get there if anything changes. So yeah, you've been in that situation. Anything else coming up?
I think that's all decisions are like
right?
That. So, you know, I think that we should just make the decision, you know, that's it.
Yeah. Did you anything else come up for you with that 2 of air and 9 of earth?
And yeah, the 2 of swords is like, so, you know, she's wearing that blindfold, and so blindfolds in the tarot, she needs to like trust her intuition more than anything. Ace of swords is the truth, and you know, it's like these are like admitting those truths to yourself that you know is the truth, but you don't want to admit it. But that's like where the victory can come from. So I think you know, Gemini. I always look at Gemini as the truth for some reason, and or like needing to tell the truth, and but to yourself. So you know, I think that's what could be going on there.
Yeah, and with Uranus going into Gemini, you know, like I said, we had that taste of it, but it's direct now. I think we're going to start right now seeing a lot of truths revealed that will be disruptive. But Geminis, you're the ones that's probably going to navigate it the best. We're going to be looking to you guys for creative ways to handle this.
Probably.
Yeah, I love it, Geminis. All right. And moving on to the Cancers. What are you getting for the Cancers for eclipse season, Chris?
Cancer, you have the Lovers, the Empress, and the 8 of Swords. So I would say like this is like holding yourself back from love. Again, doesn't have to be a person. Could just be the energy of love or something. You know, the Lovers is love. Empress, being very attractive at this time, Cancer, or attracting abundance. And 8 of Swords, she also has a blindfold on her eyes. And so, you know, we were talking about this at the beginning too, Jupiter retrograde in your sign. You know, I think Jupiter is pretty much always positive no matter what, really. But, you know, I think that maybe that a little bit of that like stuck energy, I like really, if you asked me at the beginning of the year, I would have said Uranus going direct would have been the thing that made us feel a little bit more free-ish at this time, or, you know, could bring in things that set us free. But I wonder for Cancer if it's more Jupiter, is when, you know, you'll kind of feel like set free from something. I think Cancers have been like thinking about something for too long. It's like we were just talking about with Gemini, it kind of, you know, it's like if you think about something for too long, instead of making the decision, then you're just like stuck. And not only that, I've been saying to Cancer forever that I feel like they're just making a bigger deal out of something than it needs to be. That's usually those decisions. You always like find out later that you just made it a big deal when it really wasn't. And so I think that Cancers need to set themselves free here.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I do feel like if you're tuning in late, check out the Gemini sign, because that is really resonating with me about that. Because I have the Knight of Earth card here. This is also what we got for Tauruses. And I do think it's also a similar message, Chris, about having everything available to you. Now it's time to buckle down and use those resources, right? And I know a lot of Cancers. I'm a Cancer sun sign, so I can say this. I know a lot of Cancers who do the same, where we just keep learning and like taking more online classes and doing more workshops and and it's like, okay, now put those skills to use, right? And even in the smallest way, people are waiting for you to do that. We have this 3 of air card here: sorrow, forgiveness, healing. And this is, you know, something that I've seen a lot of Cancers have to deal with, especially since 2012. But it's also that reminder that that's bringing you into your next level of your healing abilities. So we have the shaman card here too. which is a card talking about healing energy as well. Remember, you are somebody who tends to nurture others before you nurture yourself. But I feel like a lot of these wounds that you've been through, these heartaches that you've been through, have been designed to get you to stop doing that, right? To get you to remember that you do have to feel like you are whole before you can really be there for someone else. And I know it's really easy to step in and support somebody else when they're going through something because that's just your nature to do that. But you do have to ask yourself, where has that gotten me in the past? And I feel like that's what this 3 of Air card is here. It's like remembering that everybody has their own journey. And while they might be going through something where you really feel like you can heal them or help them or be there for them, is that keeping you from taking action on your pathway and whatever healing energy that is? And I do feel like getting stuck in that I've got to be here for everybody else energy keeps you from buckling down and using your resources. So did anything else come up for you when you saw those cards, Chris?
Yeah, and the other thing I feel for Cancer is on the Empress, she has that waterfall behind her, and it like represents chaotic force. It's water that flows down from the Emperor, but the bottom, if you were at the bottom of the waterfall, you'd be getting tossed around all over the place. But like she knows that there's craziness around her, but she chooses not to focus on it, right? She's like focusing on creating her abundance.
Yeah.
And that really popped into my head for Cancer there when you were reading.
Okay, yeah. And I do like that idea. I mean, that's kind of what we're taught in meditation, kind of supporting the shaman card too, about you can notice it, but then you can go back to not noticing it. So even if you get distracted for a minute, that doesn't mean that you ruined your whole meditation or you ruined your whole, it's like actually the exercise of going back to studied non-observance. That's a term we learned in Psych 101. You're intentionally not observing something, and then that actually can help you realize. I feel like that when you've got people around you saying, I need help or I'm a mess, and it's like holding space for them, but not being a part of it. I feel like really resonates with that waterfall. So I love that. Okay, Cancers. And you'll see some shifts too later this year by the time we get to the eclipses when Jupiter's out of your sign too, I think. All right, moving on to the Leos. What do you got for Leos for eclipse season?
Leo, you have the Emperor, the Chariot, and the Two of Swords. I really feel like this is saying like don't stop, basically, because this to me, Chariot to Two of Swords is kind of a little bit of a hard stop where it's like you get going and then stop on something. And so the Emperor is like he just blasts through things. Once he gets an opportunity, he's like a dog with a bone. He grabs onto that opportunity and that's it. He is like taking off. He's making it happen. And I feel that attitude would be very, very good for you. Even the Chariot, he's setting himself apart. He's leaving that city behind him. So he's completely moving away from the familiar. And definitely, I think with like an Aquarius eclipse, you could be making space for something unfamiliar. And Two of Swords says you don't need to know everything. She has to get to that island behind her, and it's like a new place she's never been before. Of course, she knows nothing, right? But eventually she does. Eventually she figures it out. And so but that could be what stops you, is like you get to a point where you're like, I don't know what to do next, but it doesn't matter. You don't need to. You just keep going, right?
Yeah, definitely.
That's what I get for Leo.
Okay, I have the 7 of Earth card here. Seeds well planted, a temporary pause in action. And yeah, definitely with this eclipse happening in your opposite sign, it's probably okay to go ahead and slow down, take a break, pause before you take any action. I've got the 6 of Air card here, relief, hope, and moving on. And so I do think it is going to bring some peace, even if it doesn't feel like it right now. You're like, how is this chaos going to leave? How are we going to get to a place where we feel calm? And then you have this relationship repeat card here. And what I see with that energy is a lot of needing to release an old way of approaching things, especially regarding your relationship to yourself. When other people say things that normally would have really hurt your feelings or triggered you, you can acknowledge that, but is there a way that you can approach it differently and maybe even have different conversations with the people in your life so they know how much that hurt you, and they know, instead of just, going off in a corner to lick your wounds, you're saying, hey, this is something that comes up for me, has come up for me in past relationships. I need to shift this. I've also seen like in a work area, and especially with Leo risings, but all Leos, I've seen Leos feeling like they're having to drink from a fire hose, so to speak, with a lot of things coming at them, learning things, doing things kind of, by the seat of their pants is what's coming to me. It's like, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I got to do it. I feel like this Six of Air is like, it will get easier. Right now it's still feeling chaotic, but you're on the right track. You've planted the seeds towards this material security that you're looking for, the security within your relationships. And you may even find that some of the people in your life are teaching you things about yourself from the past where maybe you, in a lot of ways, you were blaming the other person in the relationship, or you were blaming the boss, or you were blaming your circumstances. And really now you're saying, oh, maybe it was the way I looked at it. What's that saying about change the way you think and everything changes or something? I'm
change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change.
There we go. Much better than the way I said it.
That's Wayne Dyer.
Okay, that's right. And so I just feel like if you can hang in there, you guys, like this eclipse happening in your opposite sign, by the time we get to the eclipses in Leo or the first one we're having in August and your birthday season, you're going to go, oh, that used to be so stressful, or that used to be such a big deal to me. And now it's just not a big deal. Like I can handle this, So is anything else coming up for you with that?
Yeah, I mean, so it's funny that you bring up that quote. That used to be my like number one favorite quote of all time. So yeah, I love that quote. But I think that's what it is for Leo, is they have to like break that, their old story. I think it's like, I wish I had like a good example for what I feel for Leo about this, but it's like, I feel like Leo has felt like something always gets in the way. Like they always feel very close to something, like breaking through or having a success, or and then they always feel like the world is against them or something, like not in like a narcissistic way or something like that, but just like feeling like something always comes up, and but I do think that's part of the trick. Is it's like it's kind of funny to me also that like all the Leos in my life, it's like I've had many Leos in my life. I'm surrounded by Leos, and some of them like look at the things I do or the decisions I make, and they're like, something will happen. They'll be like, how can you not be freaking out about this thing that's going on in your life? And I'm a Pisces. I just chill out. I just like relax into it. And the funny thing is like, I don't have some of the gigantic ass issues that some of the Leos in my life have. So, because I don't worry about it, the things I can't control. And, but I think the good news is that's like, maybe Leo is like relaxing into that, right?
Yes. Learning to navigate it, trusting that it will get easier. It's just, it might take 6 months, but just hang in there. Hang in there. You planted the right seeds. All right. Coming up with the Virgos, which we have this second eclipse on March 3rd in your sign. What are you getting for the Virgos, Chris, for eclipse season?
Virgo, I think Virgos are very independent, but you've been getting the Nine of Pentacles with me a lot lately. So I do think like a new independence, or, finding a new independence. I do kind of feel similar to Virgo. It's similar, because I've had a lot of Virgos in my life as well. I was bad when I was younger, and I dated a bunch of Virgos in a row. So I'm typical Pisces, right? But, something that I noticed about them, and again, I'm not criticizing them or anything, but is like they would have these like opportunities that they wanted. It's kind of like a funny story about that too. And they would always like have some like a person that would come in and be like, I can get you this opportunity, I can help you make it happen, and it would always fall through. And it's kind of funny that recently this has been coming back up, and I think that it is about Virgo creating the opportunity for themselves. It's like no one is going to do it for them. Mm-hmm. And so I even tell a story of a friend. I have a friend. He's an amazing artist, and his brothers also, they're twins, and he's also an amazing artist. He was at an art show once, and someone offered him like a ridiculous amount of money to buy one of his paintings, and he wouldn't sell it, right? And so but what's funny about him, he's been like in the newspaper, he's been like on a news station and all this other stuff. Like, again, all these opportunities are coming external. And so I think that is the change for Virgo, really. And maybe it is the fear of competition, the fear that you're not good enough or something. Again, both of those guys, my two buddies there, they like, again, one of them, he's a sculptor. And I think I've told this story before. You go to his house, all his sculptures are hidden behind his couch. He has like a couch and he has all these sculptures behind it and they look amazing, right? But he hides it from the world. And it's what are you afraid of? Criticism or, something like that, something not being perfect, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And also, but you could be embracing some of that Piscean energy I was just talking about with the High Priestess, just not caring, just putting things out there. High Priestess is about realizing your full potential. She has no roof over her head. And so a lot of people read her as intuitive, but really she has to explore her full potential. She has to see what her limits are. And so I think that's what it's about for Virgo, really.
Yeah, that makes so much sense with what I'm getting because I have the Page of Water card here. So again, I do see new people coming into your life and definitely resonating with maybe they may be the ones bringing you opportunities, but you're going to have to really take the initiative. It's going to have to say, maybe it's that you're asking for the opportunity when you notice these new people in your life instead of waiting for them to come to you. And it's that initiation of starting the conversation, asking for the opportunity, asking for those collaborations to happen that shifts the energy for you. Maybe it's, in the past, you just didn't realize you didn't like people chasing you. You want to be the one chasing the opportunity. So you have a little bit more control. I also have this release card here, which is that, again, it feels like releasing your fears that are holding you back and pairing it with this Archangel Raphael love, healing, and miracles card. What was coming through for me, Virgos, is like you said with the High Priestess, you don't realize how healing the things that you want to have to share with the world are. It's like you're not seeing the way the other world sees your healing things, the way like everybody saw your friend's painting, like, oh my gosh. And then it's like you actually, whatever it is that you love doing brings enormous healing to others. And maybe what's been going on is this fear that it's not going to do enough. It's not going to heal enough. It's not going to be seen enough. And it's really your own thing. So it's the same idea about shifting your thinking. Instead of being the one who's playing hard to get, maybe you're going out there and saying, hey, I want to do this. I want to try this. I want to share this art with the world in a bigger way. And knowing that by actually releasing your art into the world, you're going to be really amazed at the response you get. And I know you said that with our 2026 energy too, Chris, about a lot of Virgos getting famous this year or finally being seen for something that they've kind of kept in the closet, something they've been doing, like you said, hidden behind the couch. And it's like, the world needs to see this. It's going to bring so much healing. So, you guys got hit with that Virgo energy. Those eclipses we had last year, I saw so many Virgos. It was just, I was like, I'm here. If you need to talk, you guys, this is happening for you. At some point, you'll see it. And I think that, that's where it's like, now you're like, well, hey, I've been through the ringer. It's time to just take that leap, release anything that's holding me back, and own what my gifts bring to the world. So anything else coming up for you with those cards, Page of Water?
Yeah, I do wonder if it's is a perspective thing. She has like these pomegranates behind her and also these date palms. And the pomegranates are like the fruit of the underworld. They can represent kind of like making that sacrifice or death transformation type thing. But the date palms are like abundance. But like, I'm wondering if that's the thing is like Virgo could be thinking like, oh, I'd be making a sacrifice, but it's like really actually maybe it'd bring abundance or maybe you're thinking about like how much of a sacrifice you want to make to like be famous or something like that. So it's popping into my head.
Yeah, that really resonates because if you think about it, what you were saying in the beginning with the choosing to do it, if instead of somebody coming and asking you to do it, you're saying, no, I choose to do it. So it doesn't feel like a sacrifice. It feels like an investment, So I think that could really benefit the Virgos for sure. All right. What are we getting for the Libras for eclipse season, Chris?
Libras, you have the Knight of Swords. I think I said this to Libra once, or I've said it to you before about like giving something. I don't think you're giving something a second chance. I think it's like a second look. I feel that, Knight of Swords, he can be too hasty. He can jump to conclusions and, he can make assumptions like up front and, it's not like really bad necessarily, obviously, especially if you're right, but you have like the Knight of Cups here. And again, this doesn't have to be love. It could just be like a dream opportunity or something coming in for you. And I feel that Knight of Swords is always running away, like towards the past of the reading. And the Knight of Cups obviously is moving forward, but I do feel like there could be something coming up for you. You need to like take a deeper look at, or it's like not that your assumption is wrong. It's just you just might not be seeing everything up front. So if you're being presented with anything, I would say around the eclipse, the 17th, then I would take a closer look at it because it could be a big improvement for you. You have the Six of Swords, which is like moving on to calmer shores, heading towards improvements and heading towards like a brighter future. I do feel like a lot of people, like I think we're in a time where we're like letting go of an old life, and that's what they're doing. They're completely letting go of their old life to start a new one. So there you go, Libra.
Yeah, that makes so much sense and totally resonates. I've got the Page of Fire card here, news of exciting opportunities. Like you said, I do feel like, especially around this new moon, but I have it paired with the ego card and the career history card, which you mentioned, running away from the past. I feel like some Libras just need to be careful that your ego isn't getting in the way of this opportunity because of your past, and so you're assuming it's going to be the way that it's always been, or you're assuming it's going to be a burden and you're going to end up doing all the work. You're assuming it's not going to work out if it's a new relationship. So I do think that the big message coming through for the Libras is to just focus on the excitement of it. Focus on getting excited, doing something new, adding that fiery energy to it. If there is an opportunity to shift what you're doing, like the way you always do a daily task, the way you always do something for work, if you can make that more fun, even if it requires a little more investment, a little more time, I think you're going to find that it really benefits you. And it helps you move around that ego that's stepping in and going, but remember last time they took advantage of you, or remember last time they didn't reciprocate, whatever that is for you. So is anything else coming up for you with the Page of Fire and career history?
Yeah, that's the whole. I did Libra's reading this morning, and I was talking about the word that came up for them was like enhancement. It was like, how can you enhance the work that you're doing, or it's not about like doing more work for Libra. I think it's about it's like you can do the same amount of work but get more out of it. It's like YouTube, right? It's like two people can create the same video. If one has a bad title, one has a good title. Same amount of work, but the good title is going to get more views, right? And so it's like that's how I see it for Libra. They need to focus on their titles in life and enhancing whatever they're working on.
All right. That was great for the Libras. Moving on to the Scorpios. What are you getting for the Scorpios, Chris?
Scorpio, you have the Ten of Wands, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Two of Pentacles. I actually feel pretty good about this for Scorpio. It's like you have been working hard. He's very close to achieving his goal. And so I think you are very close to achieving a goal. I think the Wheel of Fortune is about like going past that finish line for sure. I like the Wheel of Fortune, good card, but sometimes I think it's like Ten of Wands, Wheel of Fortune says like don't celebrate too soon. Wheel of Fortune, we have to keep that wheel spinning forward. So we have to keep the momentum of like the win or the goal accomplishment, whatever. We have to keep it going. So I think this is encouraging like that momentum. And then Two of Pentacles, like work hard, play hard. So Ten of Wands, definitely working hard. And so maybe it's time to like balance the other side and have more fun, or do more things that you enjoy here, Scorpio.
Yeah, that resonates. I have the life experience card, which of course would be the Tower card in tarot deck. Definitely big shifts coming through for this eclipse season. But I think what you're going to find is there are things that the shifts are going to bring you new inspirations. You're going to find a new love for something. I have the Star card here as well. Fulfillment and faith. Finally feeling like you're in a flow with the things you're doing. You've had Jupiter trining your sign as well. And then we have this longing for love and loneliness card. And I think that that's actually what's coming to an end for a lot of Scorpios. If you have been wanting to finally meet that ideal partner, or you have been finally wanting to find a group of people to work with or do things with, I feel that's coming in for you guys in a big way. Now, you may not see this until Jupiter actually moves into Leo, but I do think that you're going to have some big shifts with this eclipse that you don't necessarily see coming, but then all of a sudden it's going to give you this new idea about the things you can do. It's like the idea where, you're stuck living in a city because of your work, and then you suddenly lose your job, and now you're like, I can move anywhere, or I can take a job that I can do online and I can travel. And so there's this like new outlook on things. And I feel like we're starting to get this overall theme, Chris, with all these readings about changing the way you look at things. so that things shift for you. And this is now like the fourth sign. I feel like I'm really getting that energy of whatever these big shifts are coming in, just really trusting that you're finally bringing in the things you want. And for some Scorpios, I know this is not a romantic love you're longing for. Either you're not looking for that or you're already in a relationship like that, but it is longing for love for the things that you love. So if you love a certain hobby or you love a certain activity, you're longing to share that with others and have people support you in it. So I have seen that with a lot of Scorpios lately, big changes in relationships because they aren't getting the support for the things they want. They're supporting everybody else, but nobody's supporting the things that they're trying to share with the world. But you're going to see that finally there's an opportunity for you to shine. And it may mean that you're leaving a group of people you normally associate with and you're moving into a new group where people see you for the talent you bring to the world. So is anything else resonating for you with the Tower card and the Star card there?
Yeah, I don't remember who we said it to, but I said something about reciprocal like energy, and we have this infinity symbol on the Two of Pentacles here. So like it could be about getting into more reciprocal connections for Scorpio as well, or just like any energy you put out, like coming back. So it doesn't have to involve people, but I think that would be good. And the other thing that popped into my head is like, what are you ignoring? I always say sometimes, we have these tiny little waves back here and they get bigger as they go across that Two of Pentacles. And so sometimes I think the Two of Pentacles comes up when we're like, something keeps popping into our intuition or our brain or our mind, but we just keep ignoring it. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger until you pay attention to it. So that is popping into my head.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. And I think that you're going to see there's an opportunity to follow that intuition coming up with this eclipse, and you'll be surprised at the support you get in that. So I think that'll be really good. All right, Scorpios. Moving on to Sagittarius. What are you getting for Sagittarius for eclipse season, Chris?
Sag, you have the Ace of Pentacles, Three of Wands, and Two of Wands. Whenever I get the Three of Wands and the Two of Wands in a reading, it's like needing to take the lead on something. Both cards can represent taking the lead, but together it's like definitely needing to take the lead on something that you're working on or you want to work on. So this is like an opportunity to expand, which I do think it's going to be very expansive for, especially Uranus when it moves into Gemini. I think that will hit Sag for sure. And so, this could be like leaving the comfortable. Some examples I've given to Sag before are like, it's like maybe every Sag I know for whatever reason has a side hustle, and it would be like quitting your job and going all in on a side hustle. And I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but something like that, where you kind of like leave that thing that is security. We were talking about this a minute ago at the beginning of the reading. He has that castle. The castle stands on its own. He still has the castle, but he needs to expand his kingdom and he needs to go build a new castle somewhere else. But it's like all the issues are popping into his head when he thinks about that. Like, oh my God, it took me 10 years to build this castle. It's going to take me 10 years to build this. It's like, no, it's not. You learned all the tricks the first time you did it. So now you're going to be able to do it like 10 times faster, and it's not going to be as much of a struggle. You know what to look out for. You know all the problems that could happen. So I think you need to like have that confidence, Sag.
Yeah, I really love that. And I'm definitely getting supportive energy for everything you said with the King of Air, the Chariot card, leaving something behind, and passions and interests. And I definitely think that, like you said, it's like Sages are thinking it's going to be as hard as it was. But what popped into my mind was I learned one time that a lot of custom home builders will build the same floor plan like 20, 30 times. But every time they do it a little better, right? Even though it's custom, like it's a different location, a different lot, they improve the walking pattern or where they put the fridge or whatever. And so it does happen faster and faster. And what the initial project is a year long, and the next time he's building the house in 6 months. And so it's kind of that idea that, wait a minute, you're bringing all this information with you to this next thing that you're doing. And you know what you didn't like. You know that you didn't like having that door there or that window there, and you're going, all right, I'm going to leave that behind. I'll come back and visit that if I miss it. But now I'm going to go do the things I want to go do. And this is passions and interests, hobbies, and sports. And what I've seen for a lot of Sages is I do think that you have tried to share some of your passions with the world, and it either wasn't received the way that it deserved, or it became too much of a burden where you just realized like the people around you were not authentically putting their effort into it the way you were. And so you did have to leave it behind. It's like, that's what it is too, Chris. It's like you have had to leave a castle behind already. And now you're like, now you want me to leave this castle behind too? And it's like, yeah, but it's going to be better because you're going to do it even better this next time. So what is this thing that you're looking for? You know, I know a lot of Sagittarius changes careers, change jobs and things like that. And you might be like, well, now I'm here for another 5 years because I just moved. Maybe not. There might be some new thing that you don't see coming. And so it is going to be, like you said, Chris, really listening to your intuition, but staying grounded too. You know, you're not just quitting your job and going out on your own overnight, but you are at least daydreaming about it and asking yourself, maybe there is a chance I can take this opportunity. So what else was coming through for you for the King of Air and Chariot there?
Yeah, I love all that. I love the house analogy because, like, yeah, like, again, he has the whole world in his hands. It's like if he's settling for a house that isn't perfect, he could make the change in the world by, getting out into the world. And the job thing, it's crazy that you said that. I had a friend recently who is a Sagittarius, and she was living here in the United States, and she had just gotten a job, and then she got another opportunity to move to Japan and like get a job there that she actually really wanted. And the funny thing is that's exactly what she was thinking. She was thinking like, oh, I can't quit this job because I just got it. I'm like, if you died, and what I told her is like, if you died tomorrow, they would hire someone tomorrow for your position. It's like, there's no honor. It's not like the 1950s with our grandparents where they had a job. Like my grandfather was like loyal till the day he died to his company, but I'm like, it's not like that anymore. So it's like I was like, quit. I'm like, you got your dream job. Like, go get it.
Yeah.
And that's what I would do.
I love that. And I've actually had this conversation with a Sag before about being replaceable. Like, I know we all like to think of ourselves as unique, but the truth of the matter is, if you don't do it, they'll have to find somebody who does. So just go for the thing you want, So I love that for all signs. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Moving on to the Capricorns. What are you getting for the Capricorns for eclipse season?
Ooh, damn Capricorn. Love it. You have the Wheel of Fortune, the Ace of Swords, and the Seven of Wands. So probably feeling much better. A little bit of a turnaround energy for you. I do think Capricorn is probably starting to feel better with that Wheel of Fortune, more lucky. Again, Wheel of Fortune, we have to create our own luck. So you have to put yourself in positions where you could be lucky. Ace of Swords, victory, Seven of Wands. It's like I do get a little bit of that feeling like they're not ready feeling for Capricorn, but like I'm not too worried about it for Capricorn either. So, as long as you're not like trying to be perfect, and being like, oh, this has to be exactly perfect before I get started, then I'm not too worried about that Seven of Wands. And like, as a matter of fact, I think this is something that like Capricorn's getting that they're actually going to want to protect with that Seven of Wands. Like, building something that they're going to be like, oh, I need to, have boundaries around this. I need to make sure I protect it. Even personal boundaries, like not burning yourself out, Capricorn. So looks like a victory to me.
Yeah, and it is happening in your second house, Capricorn, especially Cap risings from that perspective. So yeah, I think with the stellium you had in your sign moving forward, definitely like just bringing in new exciting things. You do have this Ace of Earth card here, right? So this is, the inflow of abundance, a promising business venture, important documents, things like that. Like you're getting started, but I hear you too on the energy I'm feeling. It's like maybe you're still not sure if you're ready to go big with this thing. But I have this parent-child card here which says family, and I'm not hearing it as literally. I'm hearing it as you are creating your own family, like your own community that supports your vision, who's going to help you realize you're ready. It's almost like you need the audience to be able to see that you deserve an audience, if that makes sense. It's like a weird thing, I'm doing the Steve Martin joke, here's how you become a millionaire, get $1 million. And then we have Seven of Fire too. So again, just being determined, and the word resistance on here is popping out too. It's like you're resisting this change because you're like you said, maybe you don't feel like you're totally ready, but to be your, like, what's on the other side of that? Like, how much work is it going to be? How much commitment? And you're not afraid of work, Capricorns, but I don't think you realize how much support you have for the work you're doing. And that's what I'm seeing with this family card here is it's not, maybe your family is supporting you, but I'm saying you're bringing in these people and these surroundings that show you're ready. And these things with the other thing I'm seeing with the 7 of Fire card is these challenges that are beneath you because you're up here on higher ground. You're going, I used to think that was such a big deal to have to deal with that. And now you're going, it's really not that big of a deal. And maybe I do need to go for the bigger thing so that I can eventually, whatever it is that I am resisting, eventually become something small like this, like just not that big of a deal anymore. It reminds me of like when I thought it was such a big deal to make one post for my Instagram account, It's like took me an hour to design it. And now I'm just like, now I source it out. I have somebody help me with that. But the things that used to seem like, oh my, this is such a burden to get things going, really just not are that big deal anymore. So maybe whatever you're resisting isn't that big of a deal. You just got to get started. So did anything else come up for you with that Ace of Earth and 7 of Wands?
Yeah, we both had the 7 of Wands, which is crazy. But yeah, I think it's funny because I always think of that what you just said, like making things easier, and it's like if you really look at a lot of people who are like popular on social media, a lot of them, a lot of like very popular channels put in very little effort. Like even reaction channels, we've talked about that. It's like they just react to content that already exists. They're not like putting in a ton of effort. I always say like any video I've put a lot of effort into never works. It's like always just like no effort, not even trying. I think of there are several people I think of like girl Modern Millie. She talks about this, like her best videos, no makeup, not even trying, just drinking a coffee, like standing in her kitchen. Right. And so, I do think there is something to that for Capricorn. I also I always get this like 11th house energy thing for Capricorn for some reason, where it's like, it is about that, like, building a following, maybe not literally, but, getting people who support you and using that support.
Yeah, I feel it's like, I agree with you too. I think maybe what your mindset you're letting go, since that's been a theme for all the signs about changing your mindset is that mindset that it has to be hard to be worthwhile. Right. Like this is the new Aquarius age where no, it doesn't,
That's what I always think of for Capricorn is like how can you make it easier, less effort, not that pushing type of energy,
Yeah. And definitely letting people support you. Like you said, maybe you are outsourcing some of the little things so that you have the time for the bigger challenges. I love that. All right. Moving on to the Aquas. We're in your birthday season. Happy birthday, Aquas. And this is your eclipse. What are you getting for the Aquas for this eclipse, Chris?
Aquarius looks like some sort of financial change. 5 of Pentacles, 9 of Pentacles, 8 of Pentacles. Again, kind of like Capricorn, 8 of Pentacles is like just straightforward, diligent. It's just like doing the work, that's right in front of you and not overcomplicating things. And staying focused. 8 of Pentacles, he's very close to having some sort of reward. He only has one more pentacle to complete and then he's done and he gets his reward. I always say this is my card of material success on the horizon. So, if you have felt unsupported or left out in the cold, it looks to me like you're fixing that. 9 of Pentacles, he has to fill those fields behind him and get to work. He's always my card of not working and he's only a knight that's not moving. So, you probably have, I think Aries had this card as well. You might have everything you need, but you just have to like get started to make it happen.
Yeah, that really resonates with me. I have the Page of Air card here and the 2 of Air card. And what I really was feeling too with everything you were saying is I feel like a lot of Aquarians have received news or people have said things to them that they felt like were not accurate or impulsive or maybe even just tactless. And it's been frustrating for you guys because you see the bigger picture. And sometimes in these conversations, it's like, how do you not see the bigger picture? You guys are all about the collective and innovating things for everybody and unity. And so you see the big picture and these other people are like biting at your heels, telling you can't do it this way, or they're keeping you from going towards the things you really want. And with this 2 of Air card, I feel like I want you to ask yourself, Is there something you're considering leaving behind that you didn't think you would consider leaving behind this year? Like, a year ago, 6 months ago, even coming into 2026, was there something that you were like, I'm committed to this thing? And now maybe after this eclipse, you're like, maybe I'm not so committed. Maybe it's time to go ahead and make a decision about this collaboration, about this project, about this goal I have. I have this longing for love card here, loneliness. And what's coming up for me is a lot of people don't realize that some of the loneliest people are in relationships. They're actually lonely within the relationship because they haven't been honest, page of air, and made the decision, had the communication they need with their partner. Now, I'm just using that as an analogy, but you could be lonely within a community where you're going along doing the job and you're not being seen for it. People aren't giving you credit for the wisdom you're bringing. And like I said, I just feel this like young energy where they're like, it's impulsive. They can't see the big picture and they keep interrupting you or they keep telling you, oh, that'll never work. And you're like, I see the big picture. So anyways, that's coming through really strongly for me. If you're feeling lonely within a group setting, within a relationship, within a business partnership, it might be time to make a change, and that one's just coming through so strong for me. If you're longing for love, for the work you're doing and for being seen, in the visions you're bringing, and the people around you are not listening, you just can't get them to sit still shut up long enough to hear your vision. And I don't know why that's coming through so strongly, but let me know, Aquas, because I think maybe by the time you get through your eclipse, you're like, enough is enough. So I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What are you getting for that, Chris? Because that came through so strong.
Yeah, I mean, Five of Pentacles is like literally two people that are left out in the cold. So I think two people who maybe feel lonely, or just one person. Five of Pentacles is the card of like, you have to not call attention to your weaknesses. It is about focusing on your own strengths. And there is a place, a sanctuary here, the church behind them. The whole point of the Five of Pentacles is there is an easy solution to their problem. It might not be, it's funny because I remember years ago, I shared this as well. And someone took it in some weird religious direction about how churches are evil and everything like that. I'm like, that's not what I was talking about. But, it's like that. It's funny that kind of makes sense with this card because it's like, maybe they're not religious. So they're like, I'm not going into that church. And it's like, well, okay, are you going to be so stubborn that you're like not going to take a solution that exists when you just go in there and then you leave later when it warms up. Right. So that kind of makes sense.
And that kind of brings a little more clarity, I feel like, too, with the Two of Air, because it's like the decision is to go higher. And if the people around you are not willing to go with you to that higher place, then maybe you're saying, well, I'll see you next time. I'm going, I'm going to the warm place. I'm going for the help. I love it. All right, Aquas, let us know how you're doing, and happy birthday season. All right, moving on to the Pisces. What are we getting for your sun sign, Chris? For
Pisces looks pretty good for you. I mean, you have the Death card, which eclipses in your 12th probably. So it, which could be like some sort of death type transformation. I like the Fool there too, because the Death card can be like the light at the end of the tunnel, finally getting to the end of a really long journey or some sort of struggle that you've been going through. And then having the Fool, he has the sun at his back there. So it's more like light at the end of the tunnel type energy. I feel this. I was saying to my assistant the other day, I was like, I've been thinking about some new things, and I was like, I'm just gonna stop thinking about it, and I'm gonna play stupid. I am just going to treat this as if I am dumb, right? I mean, Fool energy. Sometimes I think there's something to that. I mean, just like not just being like, I'm just gonna stupid this thing and just go for it, right? And I feel that for you, Pisces, with that card. And you have the Six of Wands, which is like the victory or the success. It's like maybe you have been overcomplicating things for too long, or making things like way harder than they need to be, just like everybody else. So, but really good, a lot of attention for you as well. So, and I definitely feel it's a good time for attention. I even think I've told Pisces before, I think that Uranus and Gemini, even though it's their 4th house, it just still always pops into my head as like something that could lead to attention. Maybe it's because it's their IC, the opposite, Sag being their MC, could bring in attention or like fame, even just like Virgo. So, I think it's possible.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. And what's popping into my head was, that beginner's luck thing that's out there
Yeah.
where like you don't know all the things that could go wrong. So you have the confidence because
Yes.
it's the full card. It's the first time you're doing it. So you don't even know that could be a risk or a bad habit. And just kind of going in with that blind faith can actually give you a win pretty quickly on that can boost your confidence or at least get you to see where something might be worth the risk or the vulnerability there. I have the Ace of Water card here, falling in love, resurgence of a relationship, a new home. You said fourth house. So maybe a lot of you guys are realizing you're going to be heading towards a new home. But I do also see relationships shifting for Pisces. I was already getting that for you guys in 2026. And I think it's embracing that vulnerability that comes with any kind of relationship. It doesn't have to be romantic. It can just be a relationship to your work, relationship to a new home. Now you got to go deal with all the new home things, whatever that is. But I do have this Seven of Water card, choices over analyzing procrastination. You were literally just talking about stopping thinking. And then I have isolation, lack of connections. And I think that what this is letting you know is like what you don't realize is the thing you might be avoiding, which is getting into a relationship, getting into a group of people, getting into that is the thing that brings you the solution. It brings you the support. And it's like, it's okay that you don't know what you don't know, because there's going to be these people there who are going to help you. They're going to support you. They're going to bring you the information. And so, yeah, it's like you almost have to play dumb. And I really like that because I have a cousin that's a pediatric ER doctor. And I remember before they had kids, they have 3 grown kids now, but before they had kids, he would talk about how scared he was to have a child because he knew all the things that could go wrong. You know what I mean? And I was like, well, geez, I mean, I guess it's kind of nice not to know. Like when I had my first kid, I didn't know half the things I know now about it. Right. And it's like, it's almost better to not know. So like you said with this, I know you talk about Seven of Water being spoiled for choices or trying to know you don't know what's in the cup. Maybe it's better not to know what's in the cup. And instead of trying to do it all by yourself and be like, well, I guess I'm just going to have to take this risk all by myself. Remember that you do have support coming in for you. That's actually going to bring you that emotional security, because fourth house is not just home and real estate. It's also that emotional security that you can get by surrounding yourself with people who support you. So did anything else come up for you with that Ace of Water and Seven of Water?
Yeah, I think of that North Node Pisces, South Node Virgo all the time for Pisces because, it's like I think of that energy. You were talking about relationships and like getting into one. And I this could be any type of relationship, Pisces. You don't have to like fall in love with a person. But North Node Pisces, South Node Virgo, like people who have that in their past life, they like escaped to a mountain like a hermit. And, they were trying to punish the world because they were hurt by something in the world. So Pisces, I would definitely say like it could be a good time to build new relationships, not be a hermit, because you don't want to come back next time with North Node Pisces, South Node Virgo, right? So I would definitely don't hide your gifts from the world, right?
Absolutely. And actually that isolation card, you just brought something up for me because I actually have my South Node in Pisces. That can be something that can carry forward to future lifetimes that you don't realize. So it might be worth, especially since you are Pisces, you rule the 12th house, doing a little past life work and asking yourself, maybe there is something I carried forward that's a habit to be in isolation. And in this lifetime, I came to change that. That could be kind of a fun goal there. So yeah, I love that for the Pisces. Let me know and we're going to be moving into your birthday season soon. So I hope you're going to celebrate. We'll be back to wish you happy birthday with all that.
Oh, thank you.
But let's do the bonus messages. And just a quick reminder, really helps us out if you'd hit that subscribe button to both our channels. I have Chris linked as a collaborator here, so it's real easy to hit the subscribe button for him. Like and share the video, that helps out. And we love reading your comments. We read all your comments, even if it's just really cute emojis. There's so many emojis I don't even know are out there that I love it when people leave funny, wacky emojis.
So many new ones too.
New ones all the time. I love it. Okay, so we are, again, doing the bonus messages here for the eclipse season. It's right around the corner, you guys. Here we are recording this on the 4th, the 17th. I think we're already feeling this eclipse energy, with the full moon in the opposite sign on Sunday, kind of revealing things that gotta go. And I like to remind people the word clip is in the word eclipse. So yes, we are clipping things out. We are cutting back on things. We are clipping coupons for things so that we get a better deal. So it's not always a negative thing, but just keep that in mind, especially as we go into these bonus messages, just to get a little clarity. So, Chris, what is coming up for you for the bonus messages there?
Yeah, you have the Ace of Cups for the collective, and one thing we didn't say is it is conjunct Venus. So even though this eclipse is squaring Uranus, which makes me nervous, that conjunction to Venus I think is really nice. I mean, eclipses are fate in the first place, so could bring in like fated love opportunity, fated something that you will love, and it could be connected to your fate. We have the Queen of Swords. I have never paid attention to her face on this card, but I don't know, the face she is making really stood out to me on this card. She just looks like she's like what, like whatever, to something. And the Knight of Swords came up after it, so it's like the Knight of Swords is rushing in, and she's just like, okay, like whatever, come into my life. After doing the past couple readings here, I think that might be a good attitude. Like playing dumb with something like we said to Pisces might be a good idea for everyone. And just being like, and it's like maybe she's not caring like what the outcome of this is going to be. It's like he's rushing in. It's like there could be opportunities that rush into your life, and you might just be like not getting very excited in a good way, like non-attached way, and just being like, I'll see how things go. Maybe that would be a good attitude right now.
I really like that. So again, listen to all 12 signs, you guys, and go back and listen to Pisces if you missed it, because I agree with you that beginner's luck, the not knowing what could go wrong, could really benefit you with that. It's more about just being in the flow of things. I have the 8 of Water card here, a desire to move on, the search for something better, spiritual and emotional growth. And, I just feel like for a lot of us, you may have not realized that 6 months ago, you kind of made a wish for something. And you might get your wish. And the reason that there's that saying, be careful what you wish for, is just because a lot of times it comes in a way that you didn't expect, or it is unexpected, which like you said, we have Uranus squaring. Uranus is all about expect the unexpected. It does rule this first eclipse in Aquarius. So, I mean, I would work with the energy. I would say like, I'm going to, roll with the punches, so to speak. And I like that vision of the whatever with the Queen. I mean, I'm aging myself, but in my generation, I'm like at the end of Gen X. Like that was our saying, like whatever. Like when I was growing up, it's like, and I'm like, I mean, not letting that Knight of Air energy take over, right? The sky is falling, the sky is falling. It's like, it was falling 20 years ago and 100 years ago and 3,000 years ago, right? It's like always something. So whatever. Then we have the 9 of Fire card here, protection, preparedness, and resilience. And again, that's making me feel like, just remember you are protected through this as long as you stay in that mindset of these things are happening for me. And it's like, okay, maybe I did wish for this and I wouldn't have wished for it to happen this way, but because there's a fated aspect to it, how can I be resilient in this? How can I take the things I want to take with me? That's that protection, preparedness card. All of us will be leaving something behind because of these eclipses. It might be a mindset. It might be, just something that we always thought would be part of our lives, like a hobby or whatever. But it's going to be clearing that space for something new. And then finally, I have this deceit card. It says betrayal and manipulation. And I do think that we're going to see for a collective, on the collective level, where there has been a lot of deceit. There has been a lot going on, on the wider world stage. And something that you were just sure you knew it was the way it was, Uranus is coming out and going, nope, time for you to see the truth that's happening here. So just kind of, that's where I was talking about, like, roll with the punches in some ways, like stay on the train and observe some things, but other times get off and go, that's not working for me. I'm not going to be a part of that energy anymore. And I know, Chris, we talk about this pretty much every time you come on my channel with AI, what's coming in, you guys, please be aware of these deep fakes that are out there, because it is getting scarier and scarier how some of these, shorts and reels that you'll see are getting millions of views and they're completely AI generated, and people are getting all upset and all worked up over things. It's like they're trying to instigate that anger, which is what Saturn and Aries and Neptune and Aries is going to bring. Neptune is that deceit. That's the deep fake. And then you've got Saturn coming in. Well, what are you going to do about it? And are you going to trust that? So I don't know why that came so strongly, but anything else coming up for you with that 9 of Fire and the deceit card? And
Yeah,
what else?
I mean that came up a lot in my in the eclipse readings I did, was like that inflammatory energy. You know, I've been telling people to like not get into that like super heightened state about anything you see, because it might not be true. And so,
Right.
you know, and yeah, I mean, I think, you know, I've been talking about Neptune and Pisces since like 2016, and saying that I thought by the end of Neptune and Pisces we'd see the mask coming off. We kind of have, and with like several things, and I think there will be more. And so yeah, we just have to, like, I think being in her position, like, you know, she's like willing to receive the information, but if something isn't right, she's willing to chop its head off with that sword.
Yes.
And so, you know, I think being in that position is good.
Yeah, and I know that Aquarius energy is about the collective, but it's also about maintaining the autonomy within that, so not going with the crowd. So it's okay to not be a part of that, battle or that thought process. Go higher with your thoughts. And I'm seeing this with people I've known for years who I highly admire, getting so worked up and so upset about things that are really not rooted in truth at all. So you can be that grounding energy there. I feel like all of us listening here who are aware of these things, that this eclipse is affecting all of us, and not everybody's watching these videos, you know, like Chris did all his eclipse videos too. So there's more clarity there. But I definitely think that the idea of maintaining your sovereignty and your autonomy within this Aquarian energy is going to really help you keep from getting swept up in a lot of the stuff other people are going to. So
yep, totally agree.
Anything else you have about these eclipse season, Chris?
No, not that I can think of. I was going to say something about it, but yeah, it's like the whole, getting worried about those things, like even AI, like I think AI could kill us, but at the same time, I'm like, well, if it does, I'll be dead. So I won't even care. Right. It's like, what is there to worry about?
Yeah.
As I always say.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, I remember when we were all going through what we went through in 2020. We won't go into that, but it's like, I remember just being like, I still would want to go out with my boots on. Like, I want that saying, of like I still want to like live to the fullest every moment I would get. And I think that those are the people that are going to come out on the other end going, wow, like I'm more successful than I ever thought I could be, or I'm happier, or I have more peace in my life than I ever thought, because I didn't let that hold me back, Yep. So, well, I love it, Chris. Well, Chris, is always a blast to have you on here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Definitely, everybody go start listening to all of his eclipse videos on Menopon Tarot. We appreciate it if you like and share this video, comment, subscribe, all the things, and we will definitely be back for more topics. So I'm sure we'll cover the next eclipse season. But happy eclipse season, you guys. Let us know what happens for you guys, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody. Bye, Chris.
Bye.